I'm Dr. Larry Carnes, and welcome to Spotlight TV. We're so glad that you could join us for today's broadcast, and we're excited to have a very special guest with us today, Dr. Fan. And he's going to be speaking to us about this very exciting book. Dr. Fan, how are you this morning?
I'm fine. This one very good today.
Thank you for being with us today.
Yes, good to
Tell
know
us,
you.
briefly introduce yourself to the audience and let them know who you are.
Okay. I'm a graduate from the University of Manchester, United Kingdom, and I'm also a MBA graduate, also from UK University by the name of Brunel University. Today it is called Reading University. I'm a professional engineer working in Malaysia for 45 years in the industry, in consultancy, in contracting, and as well in facility management. So I'm lucky for the last 16 years I've been exposed to hospital environment working. You see. So in that environment, I am a key consultant advising the Ministry of Health in Malaysia in the implementation of their HSS project that they implement into their hospital facility. They had problems previously. In the 20 years ago, they had this big problem of facility management for hospitals. So we were very lucky. My consultant company was engaged into implementing and monitoring the concession company that are going to do the job on behalf of the government. So my experience has been there for roughly about 15 years with them. So the experience I acquire will be very useful for the audience and the reader.
Oh, that's so powerful. That I found it quite interesting as I was looking over and reviewing your book. You talked about the privatization of hospitalization there in Malaysia, and you focused primarily on three companies. You talked about some pros and you talked about some cons of that privatization and those three companies that were primarily responsible for providing health care to the people there in Malaysia. Talk to us a little bit about the benefits of the privatization. And after you finish that, speak to us about some of the cons of the privatization so we can get a clear understanding of what you're facing there in Malaysia.
The thing that started this project that the government want is because one of the primary issue was consistency, because they have think about 100 over hospitals that they are controlling. So none of them are having a consistency management kind of thing that they do for all the hospitals. So they have a big problem doing that to maintain the management's consistency in their hospitals. And also equipment that were being used in the hospitals were getting obsolete and out of date. So replacement program was also a big problem. Money budget had to be prepared for the replacement of old equipment. And also the other factor will be the health risks that the hospital face, because in the hospital disease are very prevalent within the hospitals.
Yes.
So that's why they have to have a standard, an international standard, to be implemented into the government hospitals. That's why they need to have they cannot do it independently for each hospitals. If they do it independently, then there will be very difficult for the hospital administration to administer each of them, and the government will spend too much money on each of the hospital. So rather than doing that, they privatize it to three companies, private companies in Malaysia, divided into zones in Malaysia. Two in Peninsular Malaysia and one in East Malaysia, which is Sabah and Sarawak. So
Okay.
they were So they were given 5 services. These are core services, support services that support the hospital administration. Besides clinical treatment and pharmacy and laboratory, is it? So these five services are very important to the hospitals. They are facility engineering management system, biomedical engineering system, linen laundry, cleansing, and clinical waste services. These are actually the core services that every hospital must have. If
Yeah.
they don't have, no hospital can function like that. You see. So they implemented this about roughly about I would say about 20 years ago now. You see, I would say they have, because they started about 1999 and 90s, in the, or rather early 2020s, 20s, like that. You see. So when they started the thing, it was quite confusing because it was very new. This form of management using privatized company to manage the hospital support services at the point in time. So we faces a lot of problem. The concession companies face a lot of problem. I was the monitoring consultant, so we are working actually together with the government hospitals together to implement the project. So I highlight in my book
That
the.
is interesting.
Mm,
I was
mm,
looking at your book. You mentioned that a time span between 1996 and
mm,
2011, a time
mm.
span of 15 years.
Yes, yes, yes.
As so, tell me,
Mm,
you said that you were an engineer. What
mm.
got you interested in the healthcare industry, and how did you make that transition? Because that's quite an interesting transition from being an engineer to coming over and being a consultant in healthcare. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that's the point people was asking me also. Why from an engineer you work into a health environment? See, what? And I am a civil engineer. You make it even interesting, see, because uh, because in the hospital there are a lot of mechanical and electrical systems. But civil is very little. But I happen because I am in top management. I'm a very senior project manager. I've been working on projects before I joined into the healthcare system, so I know about system. So my exposure will be actually initially was very sudden. It was quite not say difficult, but it's very sudden to me, a
Yes.
transition into the hospital environment to understand how the hospital system works. So but because I have past experience, that learning curve become very fast for me. I learned it
Oh,
very fast, and I came to know about the system. I able to work with my colleagues and those who are in the, say, the biomedical engineering, the linen and laundry, the clinical waste, all these things. I was very fast. I was very fast to learn about all these things, and I rise up very fast in my hierarchy of the
okay.
organization. Controlling all the expertise all around me, all the knowledge workers, all working under me. You see? So of
Ah,
course, so naturally, uh, of course, I do not know everything about their specialty. They're all very specialized. You see? Like clinical waste, biomedical engineering are very specialized disciplines. You see? You need each of these has to be an expert. The expert will be the one will tell you what they will face and the problem. And the hospital environment is very unique because it's very different from commercial building because there are so many facets inside the hospital that we have to take cognizance of, and which is so different from any other buildings that we
yeah.
encounter. So I find it fascinating because there's so many facets like that. For instance, example is this medical gas. Uh, you don't find medical gas in commercial building,
Yes.
you know. And then the other thing called sterilization. Sterilization, we use autoclave to treat all the clinical, the surgery equipment, things like that.
Yeah.
How you do it? Only in the hospital you knows it, you see.
Yeah.
So these
So
are exposure that I come across, and I learn it very fast. So I want to translate some of this knowledge and experience into the book.
that's powerful. So now, have you had the opportunity to consult or help other countries that may be facing some of the same difficulties and the challenges that you were facing there in Malaysia? Have you done any consulting outside of Malaysia?
Actually, no. But I went to Madagascar at one time of my
Okay.
experience. But there is a underdeveloped country.
Yeah.
Their healthcare service is actually very, very poor, very poor. So the system there in the hospital really very, very difficult. But as compared to Malaysia, Malaysia is much, much more better. So another one will be Singapore, the nearest one. Singapore is actually considered in the healthcare industry quite high in this region, in this
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
But when I go and observe their hospitals, but what we practice in Malaysia is more or less. I mean, our standard is not bad. I would say in Malaysia the standard is not bad, and when compared to Singapore, they do have, like for instance, clinical waste management and
Yes.
services. They also practice the same thing that we practice. So our standard is not bad because
Okay.
we have been recognized by this WHO as one of the key services that we come across. But as for facility management, that is quite common to all. But then only thing the issue is about the different kind of facility engineering. Like for instance, autoclave.
Okay.
Autoclave is not covered. Okay.
Wow, that's powerful. Now we have about 2 minutes left. So
Oh,
if
see.
you will, share with our viewing audience information and how they may be able to contact you and how they can get your book. I know they can get the book on Amazon. Give them
Yes.
your contact information, email address, and things of that nature. About 1 minute.
They can contact me via my Gmail. My Gmail account is fanhongpoh@gmail.com. They can call me, can contact me via that Gmail.
Okay, give us that account again.
fanhongpoh@gmail.com.
FANHONG
POH.
POH@gmail.com.
Yes, they can contact me via the email.
Excellent. And I know that they can get the book on Amazon. I've gone and seen the book there on Amazon. It's a powerful book. There's a lot of information in it. We thank you so much for what you're doing for the hospital and the healthcare there in Malaysia. Thank you for spending your time and coming on and sharing just a wealth of information with us. And
you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you very much. You're most welcome.
Oh, yes,
nice talking to you.
Pleasure talking with you. This is our viewing audience. Stand by, and we're going to be right back. I'm Dr. Larry Carnes. We had our special guest with us. Thank you so much for watching us.
Thank you very much.